everything. Oh, yeah. They have visibility on everything. Absolutely everything. You have to use their service to have connectivity. They're contractors, which I'll guarantee you have contracts. The contractors have contracts.
Gill?
Oh, he made it. How did you get through all that?
You know what? I'm not sure either.
All right, well done. So
maybe it's God's will at this point.
Let me pause there, and we'll bring the star of the show on. Now I'm going to have to go back and cut out and do another edit, but it'll be worth it. So, update from Mike Gill. Have you heard from brave Congressperson retired Cynthia McKinney?
Just that we get caught sending back information on Telegram. But what I'm going to tell you is critical, and it's important that people hear this just in case they never get another chance to hear this. In planning to put this evidence out there, what this is, and I'll follow it up with evidence, maybe me and you can do something, Gio, but what this is this simple. O'Keefe, what people have to understand is that when he came to New Hampshire and he announced to the world that this woman voted twice, that's what you had. So in other words, he worked with Richard Head and he worked with Dick Tracy. They gave him subpoenas. Now think about this. O'Keefe came to New Hampshire, and if you Google O'Keefe investigates Griner, Griner is one of the heads of the cartel. O'Keefe had the cartel. It was O'Keefe and Day and his team of operatives that came into me. Operatives inside of Auto Fair like Rumpler. Aaron Day, who was the president of the Libertarian Party, and the ex-president was Eileen Landy, my paralegal. It was a plan from the beginning. Now listen, people, this is critical. They didn't come to me with the cartel. They already had the cartel. What they had was the Pandora Papers. They had the money laundering network from jump. O'Keefe knew exactly what he's doing. What O'Keefe is a master blackmailer. He makes Epstein and Maxwell look like Cub Scouts. He gives you the I voted twice, and he is using the money laundering network of the deep state and the Pandora Papers as blackmail. I was in an interview to be governor. I caught his next plant, ex-Senator Lambert, who gave me evidence of the assistant AG, Richard Head, the same one who protected the banking department and leveraged me with the DRA so the cartel could buy my properties. I was part of the deal. One of the reasons they brought me in was for leverage against me to use in a trade with the cartel in Shaheen. They needed me gone. Now think about this. I said doing the laundry. Lambert was working with Jerry Little, who then became the banking commissioner, the keys to the vault. Little was Sununu's guy. You ready? Lambert was O'Keefe's guy. State senator, libertarian, working with Day. I caught the move quite literally in a radio interview. Who gave you the notes? Richard Head? Richard Head, in those notes were his, and with the banking commissioner's lawyer, Donna Soucy, who was running for state senator too. Meaning the O'Keefe candidates they were running against were cartel-owned candidates. So what happened was they were using that money laundering to leverage Shaheen in a deal with Sununu. You want proof? How's this? Why were they working on getting Little into the banking commission, but to open the door to the vault to the money laundering network? Meaning O'Keefe always knew what it was. I am telling you, it was O'Keefe's plan to get the keys to those Pandora Papers, to leverage the cartel and Shaheen, which is what he did. Now think about what happens next, right? They take my evidence. They take my evidence of the cartel, money laundering. They are recording the Inspector General of the Treasury saying they have moles in plants. They are taking those 22 sealed envelopes that Kitka had intercepted by an accountant that was associated with Tom Morley, the ticker agent. It was a massive cover-up. The FBI is protecting Shaheen. Where Shaheen comes from? The FBI. Who is the cartel being protected by? The FBI. We were having a power shift. O'Keefe was in New Hampshire. If you Google in 16, it was Dick Tracy and Richard Head. They were trying to stop him. He was the move. Those were the AG's office working with Shaheen, for Shaheen and the cartel. Now think about this. Why did Richard Head give Lambert, of all people, evidence in his own handwriting that would put him in jail for 50 years? Because Sununu got a deal to make Assistant AG Head, the Attorney General of the state of New Hampshire. That was the payoff. Now O'Keefe has got Sununu, so Sununu and O'Keefe has got a deal. Sununu now, because they were attacking him, Shaheen was, as I was. And again, you can Google. Sununu finances his ski resort with 3 terrorist groups tied to 9/11. All that disappeared. Shaheen's people, all his candidates, Gatsis, who was running for governor, the cartel candidate, all shut their mouths. Why? Because it was the deal. Why? Because they had to. Because now Sununu had his man with the keys, Jerry Little, to their money. They had to shut up. So you know what they did? They worked out a deal in hell. Here's the deal. Sununu now becomes governor. Day corrupts the case, gives them all my evidence, gives them the list of names and all the witnesses. Why? So the cartel and Shaheen can scare them to death, and that's exactly what happened. That's why you had state troopers crying. They gave them all up. O'Keefe's plan was always to give them up. I became part of their plan. No witnesses, no evidence with a corrupt judge. Guess what? They'll hit Gill with $274 million. Now, if he won't take your 50, we're going to hit him with 274, and now he'll take the deal. I was part of the plan by corrupting the case with O'Keefe's people. Now they have more leverage to me, so I sign off on a deal, a sealing agreement, never to be heard from again. It was okay. How about this? When I went to jail for contempt, remember I said there was a lawyer that came in, I didn't know, he gave me his name was Dave Carney. It wasn't Dave Carney. They didn't want to put the right name in the log. The lawyer was O'Keefe's lawyer, a libertarian. He represented Day in the case. It was an inside job from the beginning. O'Keefe knew I was to be murdered even that day. And what happened was they gave me the last chance to turn around and say, take the money. Who turned around as a witness when the hitman came into that conference room? Aaron Day was at the end of the table. I remember seeing him covering his face. I was just thinking, you want to see me get shot in the face. Why did he not run? There was a door right next to him. Because he knew that they were going to shoot me. He was there who gave me up in my location to be murdered. Who was my contact in the jail, my lifeline? Erin Day, who disappeared for 9 days. That lawyer in Erin Day. I was supposed to die in that jail. Remember that hitman that killed Gill? What did he say? He said, you just got out of jail. And he was going to be number 4. Who wouldn't give me the tape and recorded it? Aaron Day and O'Keefe and Project Veritas. It was the evidence that they knew that they didn't want me to have because they were part of that operation to murder me. Because at this point, I wasn't taking the money. So what people have to understand, O'Keefe runs a front by giving you, I voted twice.
All this, like I said, hey pal, what you missed was I said that to the audience. He is an utter fraud. He throws out crumbs to the conservative Catholics out there of him, of these useless investigations.
He is an assassin.
Right.
He is so much worse than Project Veritas is an operation to blackmail politically, blackmail the rich and famous across the country like Epstein and Maxwell, but 100 times worse. He is an assassin.
And just like, and listen, that's a great point. And as I told you on the phone, just like Epstein is in no way working on his own. He absolutely, remember, federal prosecutor Alexander Acosta, Cuban Roman Catholic, Puerto Rican Roman Catholic, was told by powerful government insiders, drop the 5 federal charges against Epstein. And he did.
And
in the
Trump
same way,
made him the labor secretary. Now
right.
Listen to this. This is what people have got to understand here. I'm going to bring this home. And the evidence I have with this operation, and I'm showing you how they move with the state center, is 100%. There's no, they do not want me to put this out. I can tell you that right now. I can't tell you much more, but I am telling you there are forces to stop me right now. Now think about this. What did O'Keefe do? When I didn't take the deal, Day was afraid to be murdered, and he should be, because I'm telling you, they would have murdered him, because Day had the information against the cartel. He knows he fixed the Senate race. It was Shaheen who had him run against Ayotte. It was part of the O'Keefe plan. By a Day running against Ayotte, Hassan would win. Now think about it. From that little courtroom and this O'Keefe deal, he fixed the Senate race, which now the Democrats have had control for, 8 years, passing Biden's bills, these last few? It was O'Keefe's plan. It was the trade. Sununu becomes governor. Day gives up all the witnesses, gives up me. They leverage me to take the deal. I become not a problem. Day runs and gets Ayotte beat. Now, there's an article, front page, I have it. Day admits that he's the reason why Hassan won or Ayotte lost. You're damn right. It was part of the trade. They fixed the governor's race. They fixed the Senate race and the control of the Senate race. Now, you ready? Why did General Flynn seek me out after the election? Why, and I want everybody to put their thinking caps on, why did the next national security advisor, the consideration exactly at that time of Sidney Powell being the chief counsel for Donald Trump? They put it in emails. They put it in texts. You ready? They were reestablishing a timeline when I gave them the evidence. Not before the election, not 2 years before the election, but right then and now. Because they needed evidence that say, Trump says, I didn't know. Of course he knew. Who sent Flynn? What did Flynn, the first thing he asked me for was a settlement, $50 million with the names of the people and the operations that's in the Pandora Papers. O'Keefe gave it to him too.
Remember, Flynn was a 4-star Army general who ran the Defense Intelligence Agency. Nobody knows that.
Sending me text messages and emails about evidence that would keep Trump in office. Now think about that, people. Now you ready? I mean the corruption of all times. So what happened was, by Trump not getting elected, then he went to DEFCON 5. Do you know why he didn't publish it before? He goes, I'm going to get elected, and I'm going to have everybody's name. I'm going to have the Pandora Papers. I'm going to know each and every corrupt politician, the rich and the famous. I'm going to have the cartels and the human traffickers, and I'm going to have their money, and I'm going to be able to put them in jail at any time and any place. Who's in there? Sununu. Who's running for president? Sununu. Why do you think Sununu hates Trump? He knows Trump has this evidence. Who's in the Pandora Papers? If Shaheen's best buddy is Clinton and Biden. So in other words, Trump, by not doing anything, keeps the evidence, has everybody blackmailed and in check, and that was the intention until he didn't get elected. Then he's got to come up. Then he's got to recreate a new timeline. And here we go, folks. Ready? Think about this. Ready? Who got raided? O'Keefe got raided by the FBI, right? Trump got raided by the FBI. Trump's lawyer, Giuliani, got raided by the FBI. You know what they were looking for? Not just my evidence. the evidence that O'Keefe had, the blackmail and information of the Pandora Papers, all the names and the people who are in there.
Yeah, that's just insider. Hang on, pal.
Black.
Hang on, pal. That's just insider bullshit. That's insider bullshit because you notice that with all of these raids, that these frauds themselves were at no point in any danger. Donald Trump was not beaten up or assassinated by the FBI.
This is what made it dangerous. I'm telling you, I'm dead on this. Dead on. I met with, you remember, in December, the FBI came to that hotel. I don't know if you remember me telling you that. They threatened me from giving them the evidence. Don't forget, you get this Shaheen, you get this cartel, you get what protects it. The FBI is protecting it. So the FBI is doing these raids to save their ass. I'm not saying that these guys aren't doing all. They're saving themselves because how about this? Who's been going after Trump? The FBI. So if Trump has the evidence that checks the FBI is looking for this evidence to save themselves. Now, you want to know it's possible? Well, let's take a look what happened afterwards now. You ready? Sununu, 2 days ago, goes, I think I have a cartel in the state. No kidding. The FBI raids Dick Aganos, the head of the cartel, one of their casinos, and said it was a money law operation for the drug cartel. Well, wait a minute. Then O'Keefe resigns, and then he's going to have his company saved and his people saying, oh, he's a bad guy. Now think about this. If you were these people and you were afraid because the FBI didn't get the evidence is still out there, and Donald Trump's figuring out how is he going to become a hero with all this, they've got to turn around, and what would be their next move? O'Keefe, Sununu goes, I told you there was a cartel. The FBI, well, we found the money laundering and the cartel. And O'Keefe goes, who can't make an excuse for anything, goes, it's time to separate from my moneymaker. Not a hair out of place.
Yeah,
None.
so
I'm positive. I've seen what this evidence is. I know where this leads to. Listen, when a national security advisor finds me in a small ratty hotel in Orlando, exactly how did they do that? What was my importance? That's what the importance was.
And everyone has tried to help you. Their only purpose was to pump you for information. I've got my my two friends with me, Bill Munsell and Roy Brown. Hang on, Mike.
When they and O'Keefe came to me, I was part of the plan at that point. I became on the radar when I caught Lambert. I was part of the trade with Shaheen. You corrupt the case, Gill's going to take the $50 million because he doesn't want to lose his business. He doesn't want to lose his home. Again, I screwed it up by saying no. But that was the deal.
Yeah, so that's why you're here. That's why you're here. That's why you're in this situation. Here's my co-host, Roy Brown. Go ahead, Roy.
There's a couple of things, Mike. First, with respect to Trump, he has a close personal relationship and not simply business relationship with Corey Lewandowski, who you've talked about. And
Lewandowski was my first contact with Trump. Lewandowski's good friends with Andy Cruz from the cartel that Sununu made the lottery president, supervising those same casinos popping up all over the state.
Right. And so I think it definitely gives credence to your concept that Trump is using this for some purpose. We don't think it's a good one. But if he is, and I agree with your summation that people like this are all hoarding leverage against each other, because at any point in time, and what this channel gets at, they can be expendable. Any one of them.
Well, think about this. Maxwell goes to New Hampshire, right? Where they just killed Epstein. She's a master money launderer. And then she turns around and has all this evidence against the rich and famous that we still don't get the names. Now think about this. She goes there and puts bills and buys a house. She doesn't feel threatened. Why? Because she is a blackmailer. Where does she go to New Hampshire? Because that is where the money laundering network is. She gets arrested by the same corrupt Boston FBI that Bill Shaheen worked for as the U.S. attorney. Now, you ready? Her lawyer is Bill Shaheen. Nobody hears another thing. These coincidences, these connecting dots, It's impossible not to be true, what we're saying. It's numerologically impossible. It's like that thing in Shaheen when they said, a casino, when they won 2 jackpots, and De Niro goes, the first one is, so many millions. The second one's impossible.
Right.
This is all impossible. And that's what exactly O'Keefe is. He is a blackmailer of epic proportion.
And I'll just add to your point about Flynn, Johnny's point as well, is there are allegations that Flynn in the early 80s was involved in trafficking of children through his position in defense intelligence, probably for blackmail, hopefully not for personal use. But, who knows?
Same thing with Epstein. Same thing with Epstein. That's what Epstein was doing.
O'Keefe and Day were working for. This is an important point. When O'Keefe and Day was working with me, they recorded to kill Gill. The next day, we've had a couple meetings with a trucking company front. The cartel owns many businesses, but they put a front man in. This front man had a check to his conscience. He contacted me. We had 3 meetings. He had a trucking route from Manchester to Laredo, Texas. The cargo going to Laredo, Texas was machine guns. New Hampshire is number 1 in money laundering, number 1 in opioids, but they're also number 1 in making machine guns, military machine guns, to get the contract Senator Gene Shaheen. They were arming the Mexican cartel with machine guns. You know what was coming back in those trucks? Children, human trafficking, fentanyl, heroin, and O'Keefe knew it. They helped me collect the evidence. The first phone call was to Day, who then gave it to me for the second and third meeting. So you want to know about trafficking in children? Project Veritas had that. Listen, you can't get the cartel without getting the human trafficking because they are one in the same. Those trucks that are bringing back fentanyl, they're bringing back children. One in the same.
I would look at O'Keefe as just a honeypot who is in the middle of this. He's a public figure, so he has this public persona of being a journalist who blows the lid off these things. But in reality, he gets confidential informants to give him information and then turns that over to the people who are running the situation. And he's your go-between.
What information can you get more than the people you're blackmailing them? Not only does he have operatives, he turns around and leverages the people that he catches to get more information and evidence. That's what he does. I mean, think about what they give, and think about what he does target, Pfizer or the school teacher. In reverse, he is a paid assassin targeting the people who he's working for, enemies. See? That's a two-edged sword. You want to go on attack? Give me this evidence. Boom, use it. He goes after that. At the same time, he's selling the American people, I'm a good guy, look what I uncovered. Voting
it's a
twice?
criminal tactic. Yeah, mafioso tactic. Absolutely.
Yeah, just a middleman. It's just a middleman. Just like Roy said, just like I've been saying to you, Mike, he's a millionaire.
I'm saying, listen, this guy may be the most dangerous guy
Mike,
in the country.
Look, we can argue about that later. I'm telling you, Mike, he's not a decision maker. Mike, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What we need to do.
Well, you know what? We don't have to necessarily, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but listen. I'm not in a position, and I won't speculate. I won't give up hypotheses. I'm not making this about politics or anything like that. I'm giving you absolute facts that I have, that I lived, that I've seen, that I recorded.
Yes, and I agree, and well put. And so let me tell you, from the military perspective, the decision makers would never put themselves at risk by having decision makers' names and faces be as public as James O'Keefe. So I'm just telling you, tactics, that's their tried and true. Okay.
Sometimes they lever themselves in that position, like Epstein did.
Yes, and another one, great example. Not a decision. Epstein is a household name. Why? Because he's a Jew. He's an expendable Jew pimp. He's an expendable Jew pimp. That's why he's a household name. The real ones above him are invisible. Same thing with O'Keefe. Okay, so listen, let's.
And you know something? I'm not saying you're right or you're wrong, but what I'm saying, what I'm claiming, I guarantee you I'm 100% right. I am positive, and I have evidence to back it up. Now, here's something else I'll tell you. Don't be surprised if O'Keefe, with the weight of it all, commits suicide, in an Epstein style.
Right, Epstein style.
You bet your ass Epstein style. None of the...
Right, and as a matter of fact, we had a video of him saying that as they were going through the bullshit of the Corona hoax hearings in Congress, where he walks up to the camera. We just showed that the other day. I'm not suicidal. Yeah, there's the setup there. That's how he retires. That's how he slinks away and retires.
You get into their money. Remember, right? Here's the question that all these politicians, corrupt politicians, cartels, corrupt cops, ready? Here's the question they can't answer. How did you get $1 billion? Where'd you get all this money? They can't answer it. You see what I'm saying? So in other words, that's why this is so guarded. What if we turn around, you open up that money laundering network, and you find that the Biden and Clinton in there, you find the Ukraine's in there, you find that we could go into a nuclear war protecting the money laundering and the corruption and the lies within this country. You see, and here's the other thing. Listen to this, guys. And it was my intention running the governor doing just this. These people will climb over their children to save their own asses, all right? So you turn around and bag these guys with their, hey, where'd you get $1 billion? I want to talk. You're damn right. We'll give you an immunity. You tell us everything. You think that these guys won't turn on one another? They certainly think that they would. So this is a domino. It is their greatest fear. It's the greatest secret in this country. And when everybody thinks it's too big to come down, it's the weight of it that could bring it all down. These cowards will get in line. You're going to have to slap them to have them stop talking. I guarantee it. Listen, how do you think I got all these informants? Their fear of me being governor. By saying, hey, I'll give you immunity.
Yeah, jail and 3 murder an unbelievable 3 murder attempts. Roy, you were trying to jump in?
Just something you've said about Trump.
And and follow the next day with a murder for hire plot.
Right, four plots, 3 attempts. Go ahead, Roy.
Something you mentioned about Trump is, why would he hold this information? Is he waiting for the right time? He would hold this information.
I'll tell you why.
What?
It's the greatest gift in history for a politician and a man who wants to be president. Let me see. For 4 years, Trump had the FBI up his ass. He had the Democratic Party. He had Biden. He had Clinton. They were all up to get him. And he's afraid. If he has this evidence, their money, you know a better way to blackmail all these people than take their money away? Now think about that. So if he had that insurance policy, he's untouchable.
But far more important, though, it's a good point, obvious. Hey, Mikey, obviously, but what is far more important is that the average common person understands that Donald Trump is just another cockroach, that he had the position and the authority to rein in these unbelievable crimes, and instead he just jumped in on the action. That's what the common person needs to understand.
Save and protect themselves. It was the insurance policy of all insurance policy. And think about it, people. Ready? You want to know proof? He has Flynn and Powell, his 2 most trusted allies, right after the election. Powell took my affidavit. Flynn took my evidence. Why? Because he knew that evidence would keep him in office. He wanted to reestablish the timeline so you don't get questioned. Why didn't you use it before? People were dying in that cartel. People were corrupted because he needed that new timeline. And now he was going to use it. If he could use it to stay in office, he could have used it before. He saved it for an insurance policy. That's 100%. 100%.
you have to know about Sidney Powell that she was a lead attorney in the Enron case, one of the biggest financial frauds in the history of the United States. She has also been accused of taking for personal use millions of dollars that were contributed to the Stop the Steal campaign. She just took and has no accounting for. Flynn, the same way. He's been accused of shaking people down and all of this Stop the Steal 2020 stuff. So the idea that they were emissaries on behalf of Trump, if they were, goes to John's
Well, think
point.
about this.
Yeah.
If Trump's tied to my evidence with O'Keefe, Giuliani, right?
Right.
Sununu. Well, you know who else is? Flynn. Flynn
Absolutely.
came looking. He knew exactly what he was looking for. He knew exactly why they wanted it. So, in other words, now Flynn knows who the cartel is. Flynn knows about the money laundering. When I went to give it to General Bolduc, who ran for senator, and I have those text communications, he didn't want to. He was backing away from. Why? Because Flynn was sitting next to him the whole time going, don't touch this, because we still have it. We still have that evidence. That's why the guy running for senator, the general who turned around and worked with Flynn and had Trump support him, they knew to have him not ask me for that evidence. I talked to him. I communicated with him. He knew what it was, and he didn't pull the trigger. Listen, blackmail is only good if you don't use it. And if you don't use it, it's the gift that keeps on giving. The currency in Washington is blackmail and extortion. That's
I'm
what
very
gets
happy
things
you
done.
said that. That's exactly the point I was going to make earlier. But I'm glad you realized that, Mike, because that is the point.
Everyone that has come out to help Mike Gill has betrayed him. Absolutely everyone, with us as the exception. Everyone has come out to help. Put up or shut up. What are you going to do for me? They've done nothing. They've done dick. So let's wrap this up,
Here's
Mike.
the
I'm
thing. All you
at
have to
my
say to
2
yourself.
hours.
Ready? Here's the thing you say to yourself. Would that person lose their life to save your life? That cuts it down a bit. The FBI are masters of extortion. That's why they're running around looking for all this evidence, because they're behind it. If people turn around and go, Biden's a puppet, you're damn right he's a puppet. Now, how is he a puppet? He's been corrupt for 40 years. The FBI doesn't know this? Of course they know this. The FBI uses it and controls Biden because they do have that evidence. Hey, listen, you can listen to us or you can go to jail. Let's look at Bill Shaheen, power brokers of the power brokers, 2 senators in the Senate doing Biden bidding, the controller of the largest cartel in the country. Ready? Before, Bill Shaheen was in business, a jewelry store, partners with Senator Gene Shaheen's brother, Billy Bob. Now you ready? Or Bill and Bob's. They got busted for selling stolen jewelry and gold. Ready? Gene Shaheen's brother goes to prison. Within days, Bill Shaheen becomes a United States attorney representing the FBI. So you know what? How does that happen? Or did the FBI go, listen, Billy, you can go to jail or you can come work for us. And now you're working for us. We're going to give you a client, the head of a cartel that unprotected for 30 years became an empire under the same protection from 30 years by the same Bill Shaheen, which is why after multiple arrests for drug trafficking, our boy Aganos gets off every single time. That's how it's done.
Right, because the goal is the inverse, the exact opposite. The FBI, the IRS, they are the criminals. If anyone gets arrested as a drug trafficker, it's because they don't work for the government. The real power, the real drug trafficking, the real money laundering, it all comes from the unbelievable criminal scum in the United States government. That's why I keep telling you, take care. Stop voting and do your best to just pull out from taxes, even though you're at risk now. 87,000 new auditors with guns.
Because you know what happens? You get competition, the FBI takes them out.
Right.
You don't compete against the cartel.
All right, pal. Hey, listen.
The FBI goes, Jesus. Give us even that little guy, because we need a cover story.
Mike, I'm at 2 hours, so wrap it up for us, and we'll continue on at the next show.
All I'm telling you is, this all can go down. This is when I read a chessboard, and people have to remember, I've been doing this for 16 years. I'll tell you what, throw somebody on a desert island, come back in 10 years. If he's still alive, he's adapted to the environment. I haven't stopped because I didn't take their $50 million, because I knew what the potential of this was. I knew that this is a catalyst. What this country needs is a means of uniting. Stop following the bouncing ball or the pretty girl in the magic act. It isn't religion. It isn't race. Pay attention. These are facts and evidence. This isn't politics. This is facts. They divide us intentionally. This is a catalyst to find out and make you aware that these politicians are corrupt. These pharmaceuticals and healthcare industries, insurers are paying protection from these same entities. Their problem is hiding their money. The only way this is to find their laundry, their money, and how they clean it. That's what this is. That's why there's a rush. And O'Keefe was behind. He's a master of this. He was there. Why Maxwell was in? He was there. This is why Trump took my evidence from there. It's all there. $932 billion. I want you to remember the defense budget is $700 billion. What do we spend in Ukraine? 10? And they're saying that's the cause of inflation? $932 billion. So we can win. That's the thing that they don't want you to know. They want you to think that you're beaten, you're defeated. You don't engage in a fight because you won't win a fight unless you do, and that's the purpose. I am telling you, this is in the wind. The moves in the chessboard are defensive moves with Trump and the FBI, with Sununu, with O'Keefe. These are defensive moves. They are scared and they are nervous. We are in play. What I'm trying to do is kick it over. I'm trying to push it, and they're trying to have me not.
That is the one card. They have all the guns, they have all the radios, they have all of the spying technology. You know what they don't have? They don't have numbers. And they are deathly afraid. They don't have
numbers, and they don't have the truth.
Right. They don't have ethics or moral superiority, and a pissed off populace, pardon the pun, trumps all of their guns, all of their radios, all of their eavesdropping. So, Mike, you and I will talk offline.
One last thing. I'm going to tell you this, okay? Quickly. Right. When you said Trump, right? All these people who are blindly following Trump. Trump knows one thing. You ready? People are acceptable to believing a lie when they want so desperately to believe it's the truth. Tell them what they're begging to believe. They're saying, we want a savior. They're not fighting for themselves. They're looking for a savior. So Trump turns around and drains the swamp. They believe the lie because they're desperate to believe that it's true. It's easy to sell a hot dog to somebody starving. Okay.
Yeah, well done. Well done. They're desperate to not have to get involved. I'm afraid there's no choice. There's no choice. You are being enslaved. You are being brutalized, criminalized, sickened, robbed by a criminal operation called the United States government, and there's no way to stop them unless you get involved.
Which is why they keep moving to control. By the time you figure it out, it's too late. Well, you know what? It's not too late. You're still the majority. We now have the truth. They will turn on one another. The big lie is to make you think we can't win, but we can.
Right. And that's what you're going to do.
Right now.
You and I talked about this. That's what's going to happen is we are watching for them to break ranks. They have rats all up and down this ship, and they're going to start breaking ranks, Mike. Listen, I will
the next step could do that. That's why this evidence that I'm saying, why they don't want me to get it out there. They don't want. I mean, I can tell you in the last few days across the country and even foreign countries are sitting on my evidence and going, give me it. At the same time, they're trying to stop me desperately. All it takes is a little push. I am telling you, we are in a moment in history that if we don't do it now, these people don't make the same mistake twice.
Well, we're not going to stop, brother. We got Jesus Christ, and we got each other. So I will be in touch with you. Well done, phenomenal job for you to get onto the navigate through that phone shenanigans with the Zoom, and talk to you.
Could you put a cover on this, even if it just means the portion that we talked about?
Yes, Mike, I will put your beautiful. Yes, Michael, I will put your beautiful. I will edit this out of my show today, and I will put your beautiful face on it so that
now
you can
attach it to your show. But I would appreciate.
I will do that for you.
We need legs.
I promise you, I will send you the stumble links. I will take care of this. Just give me a few hours, okay?
Okay, thank you
All right,
very
pal.
much. Okay.
Much love to you, bro.
Thank you, guys.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, guys. Much love
Mike.
to you.
Hi, Mike.
Roy, William, anything real quick as we close out? Bill?
I don't.
Okay.
Go ahead, Roy.
Roy?
No, I was just going to reiterate that Trump's knee deep in it, and using it for his own
Absolute criminal. And trying to get a word in edgewise, but I got to let Mike talk. Trump, Jesuit educated, all with his judge sister giving millions of dollars. She's a judgeette, and she's got $5 million to throw to the Jesuits. Flynn, Irish Roman Catholic. O'Keefe, Irish Roman Catholic. The list goes on and on and on. Who else did he mention? Giuliani, Italian Roman Catholic. All these corrupt scumbags. The roads all still lead to Rome. So
well, at least he realizes that now.
Yeah, I don't know much about Lynn Wood. I think there's problems with this attorney who was part of it all. But he and Flynn have had a famous blow up online, and people who want to look into that. Apparently he was threatened by people that Flynn put around him. So Flynn is right at the middle of this, and very, very bad.
You bet. Very, very, very dangerous, retired or not. Very, very dangerous. And his brother, 4-star general, living like a king out in Hawaii with his new command out there in Hawaii. Very, very integral part of the Roman machine controlling the United States government. Guys, great job today. Lord willing, see us tomorrow.